Okay, welcome everybody. So the Alter Rebbe says that we should live with the times, which was explained to us is to live with the parsha. In other words, to take whatever's going on in the prayer portion and apply it to our lives, and in general apply it to our lives, but specifically for this week. And being that in these few weeks of parshas we have a whole bunch of powerful characters, specifically Avram and Yitzchak. This mimer zooms in and describes to us their avodah, their way of serving Hashem, their way of being with Hashem, their way of being with people, and obviously inviting us to emulate, to step into their path and start being like them and use it in our relationships and deepen our connection to Hashem. So the Rebbe in this mimer, he opens up with the pasuk Eila Toldas Yitzchak ben Avram, Avram Toldas Yitzchak. So when describing Yitzchak's offsprings, Hashem describes in the Torah, he says like this: these are the offsprings of Yitzchak, the son of Avram. Avram fathered Yitzchak. So now obviously it's very important to, you want to bring down Avram as the father of Yitzchak. First of all, the fact that it brings down blessings, lets you know where Yitzchak comes from. Also, it's giving credit to Avram. Avram, he brought up a special son. He brought up someone, you know. So it makes sense to give credit to Avram. Makes sense to describe Yitzchak in this honorable way. The question is why are we doubling it? What's going on? Why is Avram the son, Yitzchak the son of Avram, and then Avram fathered Yitzchak? Like, what's going on here? What is this double translation? And the Rebbe goes on to say, and obviously this also means because it's Torah, it's a lesson for all of us, and specifically the Avos, we're all supposed to emulate, we're all supposed to learn from them. So what does it mean practically for us in our lives? So to understand this, the Rebbe goes on to say let's understand Avram and Yitzchak. Avram is chesed. Avram represents the attribute of kindness. We should see in the way he dealt with people. Avram was a kind person. He took care of people. He set up his tent to be there for people, to take care of people's needs. He understood that people are hungry, people have needs to be met, and he literally took care of them. And we know kindness, real kindness, is motivated by love. Being that he loved people, he was able to basically take care of their needs. And being that he loved them so much and was able to, tap into, what is there for them, what is available for them, what could be their full self. He wasn't just satisfied with taking care of their physical needs. He understood each and every one of them could have a relationship with Hashem, right? And to not give them that would be not taking care of them, not meeting their needs, not, letting them fully step into their full self. So Avram would make sure that not only would he give them food, he would talk to them about Hashem and he would explain to them in a way that they were able to receive it, in a way that they were able to clearly say, thank you, Hashem, for the food. Um, there's different, everyone knows how he would do this. But we're seeing that Avram embodied kindness. Avram embodied being there for people fully, wholly. And so we see Avram embodied chesed. Yitzchak, on the other hand, embodied gvura, right? And obviously they were tzaddikim, so they were not, all the way like this and all the way like that. Avram had some gvura inside of him. Yitzchak had some chesed inside of him. But Yitzchak is described by gvura. Like when Yaakov was describing that he had awe of God, he described I had the awe of Yitzchak. In other words, say that this was the attribute of his father. This what his father was known for. The Rebbe goes on to explain, he goes on to say that the Zohar actually explains Avram chesed as being oyer, light, and Yitzchak Gvura representing choshen, darkness. Now, the Zohar, the Torah, or anyone representing the Torah is not just taking subjects and here there's a connection here and here. Let's continue the conversation. You pseudo intellectuals, just rolling the ball. Oh, there's a connection here and there. No, if the Torah is describing Avram as kindness, Avram as oyer, and Yitzchak as darkness, there obviously is a real connection here. So what does it mean when we say that Yitzchak is darkness, right? So the Rebbe goes into explain is darkness. The reason why it's called darkness is because it's not available for outsiders. In other words, in davening we say Yotzer Ar Uvayri Choshen. Yotzer, the world of Yetzirah, like it's formed. He forms light, but he creates darkness. Now you think Bria is closer to Hashem. Bria is a higher world. Why is Bria considered darkness? And the answer is because Bria is not available for lower levels. Bria is not receivable, and therefore it's not giving off anything. It's not giving light. Hence, it's dark. versus Yetzira, where there's a form, there's a shape taking place, there's what to influence, there's what to give to the outside, and therefore what's available is influence, what's available is insight, what's available is direction, and therefore Yotzer Oyer. In the world of Yetzira, there's Oyer, there's influence to the outsiders, versus in the world of Bria, it's not it's chayshach. There's no availability to give to the outside. So the Rebbe goes on to say is okay, fine. So we're dealing with chayshach that it's a certain concealment, but we're calling it chayshach. And if the Torah is calling it a specific name, it actually has that entity. So when we're saying chayshach, it doesn't mean that it's just not available. But if you were hanging around in Bria, it would be available for you because then we wouldn't call it chayshach. We just call it helam, right? We call it covering over, um, tzimtzum. We're calling it chayshach. We're giving it a definite name. This is darkness. So Rebbe says what we're dealing with here is not only it's not available for not only the level we're dealing with that they're describing Yitzchak is not available for outsiders. They're not able to be influenced by it, but actually Yitzchak is dealing with something that's not even fully oyer for him. It's not even fully available for him. What does that mean? So Rebbe goes and explains like this. When one sits in front of a teacher and one is fully ready to take it from the teacher, at that point, he's sitting with open ears, openness, ready to hear everything. And it's dark. It's dark in the fact that he's not in touch with himself. He's not in touch with what's going on. He's not in touch with how he's receiving it. He's just busy receiving. An example of this is you have the moon, the cycle of the moon. The 15th of the month, it's shining. Earlier in the month, it's not shining. What's happening when it's earlier in the month is the moon is actually receiving from the sun straight forward. So we're not actually seeing, let's say the sun is here, the moon is covering it, so we're not seeing anything. Only when the moon moves a little bit away is there's availability to receive some of the moon. So what's happening is when something is busy receiving fully, then at that point there's darkness. First of all, there's darkness for anyone else around. Anyone else around them they're not able to receive it. Like what's going on with this person? You would see stories, you'd hear stories of Hasidim that they were busy davening, and they were thinking about Hashem. At this point, they're not in touch with how they're feeling, and anyone else who is there is not in touch with what's going on inside of this chassid. Only when the chassid steps away from the davening and he has that, life, that excitement, is he slowly passing over by the way he's being in the world, by the way he's, being around everybody. So when we're describing Yitzchak is dealing with chayshah. It's not a darkness like a galus. Rather, it's a darkness of being ready to receive something greater. And something on a side note, the way the Rebbe explains it, the Rebbe says, when we're dealing with darkness, we're not dealing with a darkness that's available in a few minutes. Because if it's available in a few minutes, it's a bit abstract, so hold with me. If we're dealing with a darkness that is available in a few minutes, then the light is better. Why? Because the light, we get to see what came out of it, and we get to have that darkness. Versus sometimes there's darkness that is just, it's just going to forever be milkable, nurseable. You could forever see it. So you're going through a struggle. You're going through a struggle right now. And there's I can't wait till the struggle's over because then I'm going to see why it's there. Okay. So then the struggle sucks. And when you're over it, you're happy. And then there's hey, I'm going through something that's bigger than me. And I know at the end, I'm going to see some of the outcomes. But I don't even know if I'm going to ever be done nursing out of that thing. There's always going to be available energy. Right? And one is sort of demanding a certain level of being able to hold what you gain out of struggle. The other one's there's much more going on here. I'm going to leave that because there's what to sit there. I was tripping out for a little bit a few days ago about this when I was learning this. But basically, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with Avram. Avram is giving out God. He's giving out God. He's understanding that Hashem is everywhere. And there's a lot of places where they're not seeing Hashem. So Avram's going around and he's revealing that Hashem loves you, starting with, hey, Hashem made you hungry. Well, I represent Hashem. I have food, so I'm going to be giving that to you. Hey, Hashem made you with a brain, made you with a heart. That means you could be having Hashem in your life. Let me give you Hashem. So Avram's going around giving forth, giving of what he has already inside of him. What is Yitzchak busy doing? Yitzchak is going up and trying to be ready to receive Hashem. And what he's going around giving, what he's going around giving is he's inviting people into a higher way of being, into a higher way of, hey guys, there's more here. Let's make ourselves ready. So what he's inviting people is into some way of a darkness, some way of an unknown. But as people sit in the unknown and they sit into a greatness, they're able to receive bigger things. Now, this is a bit abstract, but as we go through the Mimer, the Rebbe slowly brings it out more and more. So let's sit with this. In short, what the Rebbe is saying is, Avram has a desire to bring God to everything in the world. This idea of shuv, right? Bring God into everything. Yitzchak has this desire to become one with Hashem, to receive Hashem, right? He has a rotzi, and he brings that in other people. And when he deals with people, he influences them in that way. So the Rebbe goes on to say, okay, interesting. Avram is about bringing godliness to people, godliness to the world. Yitzchak's about receiving Hashem. Okay. But let's look at the Parsha. The Parsha says, Yitzchak ben Avram. Avram comes first. Avram is the one who's the father of Yitzchak. It says, isn't it normally, if we want to be influential in the world, we have to receive Hashem? We have to have a personal Hashem. If I go out in the world and I don't fully understand my relationship with Hashem, within a few seconds, the world is going to catch my attention. I'm going to be super excited about all the worldly things, and I'm going to forget what I'm doing there. I'm going to get distracted. There's a lot out there to excite me. So isn't it normal? The normal way, the normal path of serving Hashem is normal. We start off with, hey, get in touch with Hashem. Get excited about Hashem. Then go out in the world and be an influence, be God's messenger to wherever you go, right? We start with davening, start with Maidani, davening, you learn a little bit, and then you go out into the world. So why is Avram the son of Yitzchak? If anything, the Jewish nation should start off with Yitzchak. The Jewish nation starts off with a certain level of awareness of Hashem, and then they go out into the world. And there says, yes, that is a point, but actually the Avos were before Matan Torah, and they were about bringing Hashem into the world. So actually, Avram starts off with the first level of bringing Hashem into the world, and then Yitzchak starts getting the world ready. And it goes back into a whole, the Rebbe goes into deep, Kabbalah with this, but basically he takes care of that answer. Now the next part the Rebbe goes on, and so the Rebbe goes on to give me a second, let me get the next step in the mimer. So the Rebbe goes on to say like this. What does it mean, Avram, in our personal life? What does it mean Yitzchak in our personal lives? The Rebbe says this, to understand this, we have to understand what is the motivation of kindness? What is the motivation? Why would somebody want to go spread godliness in the world? Why would somebody want to be there for people? And the answer is, behind kindness is a deeper level of love. There's a deeper level of love. And what is the avoid of Avram is to love Hashem. He loves Hashem so much that he loves him in every single creation, and he wants to bring him out. And the Rebbe says this actually gives light into the mitzvah of, there's a mitzvah to love Hashem. There's a mitzvah to love every single yid. And the Rebbe says, you can't command love. And the Rebbe says, this is a famous question, right? If somebody loves, he loves. If he doesn't, what do you mean you're commanding to love? The Rebbe says, An answer that's normally given throughout Torah is that specifically actually through Chassidus. An answer that's given is the idea is you're commanded to contemplate about godliness, and as you contemplate about godliness, you're going to start loving Hashem. But it says, this time I'm not going to accept that answer because then the Torah should command you to meditate about Hashem. So what is the Torah commanding? The Rebbe introduces, he said like this, the Torah is commanding that God should be loved through your actions. You should love Hashem is that you should cause God's name to be loved through you. And the Rebbe goes and says, and this is what was motivating Avram. Avram was trying to get Hashem's name loved by his actions. How did this happen? This happened because he loved Hashem. In other words, as he was bringing Hashem to the world, as everything, in other words, what motivates, so someone asked, what motivates Avram to be so kind? What gets somebody to go out of his way, spend a lifetime being out there in the wild for other people? And this has to be somebody who's motivated by a deeper purpose. What is a deeper purpose? What is his deeper drive? And the answer is he believes that godliness is everywhere. He believes the godliness in me. He sees me as a piece of God. Whoa. I'm very appreciative of that. I'm thankful that he thinks like that. I'm thankful that he sees. So basically, it brings people to love Hashem through his actions, right? So we have Avram. Avram is getting Hashem's name. Give me a second. So Avram is motivated. Avram is motivated by the fact that he wants Hashem's name to be loved by his actions, right? Now, so the Rebbe goes on to say it like this. He says, and this is what Hashem really wants. Hashem wants that through everything we do, people should have more Hashem in their life. Other people, they have competition. They want their business to be successful. Hence, because they think there's real competition, they want everyone else to be not as good as them. Versus Hashem commands us to do mitzvahs. It's like this. It should bring out of him to do the same. No, Hashem wants to be kind. Like it says, there's a famous teaching that the Mid of Chesed came to Hashem and said, ever since Avram Avinu is in the world, I can't do my job. So Hashem's loving that. Hashem's loving that his creations, specifically, Hashem's creations are doing what he wants. And there's no competition. Hashem wants that his kindness should be expressed through us. Now, versus Yitzchak is bringing people and revealing the godliness in them. So we're slowly creating a world. We're creating a world where Avram is revealing godliness through his behavior. What's his motivation? Love. He loves Hashem. And what he's causing in the world is that people should love Hashem through his actions, through his behaviors, through having an Avram in their life. They love Hashem, right? I think in the Torah, unfortunately, it says certain people, their parents are cursed because of their kids' behaviors, because they're meaning their parents brought them to the world to educate. So Hashem, Avram Avinu, is causing love towards Hashem from his behavior. People are loving the fact of how much Hashem has influenced Avram Avinu. It's motivating Avram Avinu. So versus Yitzchak has a certain sense of desiring a higher way of being. He's constantly thirsting for more, which we're going to see soon is inspiring people for more. And it's a certain level of darkness. But it's not darkness where it's dark and gloomy. Rather, it's darkness where it's the unknown. Yitzchak is saying there's something greater here. Let's sit and be ready for it. We say Yitzchak had awe of Hashem. Where's the awe coming from? It's coming from a certain sense of, I'm appreciative of this relationship. I want to sit in it. I want to have more of it. And I don't want to lose it. So I'm going to behave in a certain way. So Yitzchak is is revealing the godliness that's all around through a sense of slowing down and saying, guys, let's be aware of what's around there. Whereas Avram is pumping, love, care with the motivation, with the perspective, you're God. You have God, sorry, you have God on you. Let's receive Hashem. Let's be thankful. Um, so now the Rebbe goes on to say is, okay, fine. So we have Avram pumping godliness, Yitzchak pumping godliness. What is the difference? So the Rebbe says is the difference is Avram is pumping from up downwards, and Yitzchak is pumping from downwards upwards. And the Rebbe says, okay, so what does that mean practically? The Rebbe says upwards and downwards are both God. It's all God, right? So what does it mean upwards and downwards? The Rebbe explains is upwards and downwards is when there's more godliness and there's less godliness. The the higher level has more godliness and it's revealing, it's giving to the lower level godliness. So what is Avram doing? What is Yitzchak doing? And the answer is we have we have somebody, we have somebody who's on top of the mountain. The person who's on top of the mountain, we say, hey, come join us. So he could come, as comfortable as he feels, comes lower and lower. And at a certain point where he's not enjoying the environment, he just leaves. Versus you have somebody who basically says, hey, I want to join you up there. And as he climbs higher and higher, his view gets better and better. And he's there. And he's not going to climb down because he's there already. He's receiving that. So Avram Avinu is bringing the mashpia, the level of godliness that he feels you're available for. He's bringing it to you. Now, what happens when you're not ready for it? That's just going to disappear, just going to fade away. It's not going to be there anymore. Versus Yitzchak's inviting you to receive a higher level. He's getting you ready to receive a higher level. So Avram is bringing down godliness to you. Yitzchak is bringing down, is elevating you. And then says this is the difference between Moshe Rabbeinu Mashiach or Har Sinai and Geula. Har Sinai, Hashem was giving godliness, but at a certain point they weren't ready, and they lost it. They got worried. Where is Moshe Rabbeinu? They were all anxious, all nervous. Hey, I need some practical guidance. I need some I need some groundedness, and they lost that awareness. Versus what's going on throughout Gadlus is we're getting slowly ready, higher and higher, to be able to receive Hashem. Now, as we're going higher and higher, there is a certain darkness. But as we said earlier, this darkness, just because it's darkness, doesn't mean that we're not receiving light. Because like the moon, the second the moon steps away from the sun, there's already what to receive. Same to right now. When I'm busy doing what Hashem wants, a lot of times I'm not in touch with what I'm receiving. I'm not in touch with what's fully there. But as I step away, there is some light. And if I'm humble enough and I'm ready enough, I'm aware that there's even more out there when I'm ready to slow down and receive again. So it's not a darkness of gloominess. It's a darkness of unawareness. It's a darkness of nurturing that there's endlessness. And that's going to be available when Mashiach comes. So till Mashiach comes, Yitzchak's journey is in darkness. Not darkness where it's gloomy, as I keep saying, but rather openness to a higher level. Now, throughout a lot of my Marim, the Rebbe says, we do the Dracham Avram, just do good, bring down godliness, because that is what we can handle, right? Bringing Hashem to every moment, bring Hashem to every moment. But what this mimer is inviting us, is to receive a higher level. There is more out there. There is more out there, and it's okay while you're receiving more out there to not be in touch with what's going on, to not be fully there, to be busy taking in and then walking back and taking in and walking back. And the Rebbe says now we can get some insight. into why it says Ela Toldas Yitzchak ben Avram, Avram Hailas Yitzchak. The first thing we need is Hashem to give us. If Hashem doesn't choose to give us, we don't exist. And if He chooses to give us an existence, but He doesn't choose to give us godliness, there won't be ability. So Hashem is giving us. Hashem starts with giving us. But what's our main avodah is to make ourselves a keli, make ourselves able to receive Hashem. So we have to do our part to receive Hashem, to get ourselves ready to be Yitzchak. And at the same time, this is not from the Ma'amar, this is from previous sichas I learned in Ma'amar. Be aware that there is a certain sense of unknown and a certain sense of going deeper and deeper. And sometimes it's not able to handle. So you gotta do a lot of Avram. But what is available, especially if you're already put in the hard spot, is to receive Hashem and make yourself more of a keli. In fact, this past Haftarah was all about, Elisha tells the lady, you have oil. Right now, just get a whole bunch of empty vessels and fill up all the oil. And the Rebbe says, like, what's going on? And the Rebbe explains this. Right now, the neshama, this person wasn't feeling alive. So just do. Make yourself a whole bunch of mitzvahs. And then once you're feeling alive again, it's going to shine. So the first thing is Hashem gives us the ability to receive Hashem. What's demanded of us is to say, okay, I want more of that. How can I make myself more of a keli? And as we bring ourselves to be more of a keli, then Hashem gives us more. Yitz Avram Haylidus Yitzchak. Right? Because at the end of the day, you can't do it on your own. You need Hashem's brachas. You need Hashem to be ready. So what are we having from this man? What's a walk away? The first thing is we could emulate Avram by bringing godliness into everything, by loving Hashem, and therefore emulating Hashem's ways and being kind. And by doing this, Hashem will be loved through our behavior, through our existence, through our way of being in the world. And what's also available is, as we're aware of godliness, we have the ability to be like Yitzchak, to slow down and make ourselves more of a vessel to receive Hashem. And while at this, we might not be fully in touch with ourselves. We might not be fully in touch with what's available, but that is the ultimate sign that we're receiving, that we're humbly being open to taking Hashem's brachas. And that is always available, and there's always more to receive. There's always more to have from Hashem, and Hashem would love to give to us. And that's what we're doing right now in Galus. So l'chaim, we should invite more of that in, and have atzlach and avodas Hashem.